Hi folks, I guess I don't have to introduce myself anymore. I'm here to do a video today, and I want to do a whole lot more clarification and understanding because the last week it was another big event. I discovered calculation, how Tesla was doing his calculation and talking about resonance and potential. I finally figure out what is resonance, what is potential. And the goals we've been looking around us, we can feel it in the instrument, but we cannot really grasp them and stuff like this. I finally caught the little sucker. I can pick it up. I can turn it into anything I want at that point in time. So that's what we're going to be doing, and more explanation how we misconcept the way energy work around us and work for, as we speaking, we call that electricity, and how it's produced. And why it can never be produced solid states to replace mechanical device for the artificial resonance of we're creating. So that's going to be the video of it. So we'll just reset up, and we'll be done in a second. All right, we kind of reset here. So what we're going to do here is literally we're going to test what's this meter is plugged to the box. Oh, we got a nice little spider here. It's plugged to the wall, and then I plug this motor here to this box, so we know exactly how much milliamp we're working. Now each bar is 200 milliamp. You know, that's more accurate than my last one, and I apologize. My last one, it was not that accurate at low milliamp, but we get something we can read better. Now I'm going to show you what this motor is an 800 watts, and so I want to find out, just spinning the magnet, what do you really use, because the magnet is smaller than the rotor, so it shouldn't be a whole lot. And I got high speed, high quality RC motor bearing, 2 on each end, on suspension and a silicone bushing, so it's really smooth. So I'm going to start that, and I'm going to start really low, and I'm going to crank it up to 17,000 RPM, and I'm using between 6 and 800, the 700 milliamp. No load. With no load on it, absolutely no load. I take all the coils off, so it's no load, right? Now we're going to turn that off, right? Oh, and those things, see, they're connected to my coil, so I'm not producing anything. I totally removed the coil from the magnet. Now what is spinning here, it's just a magnet like this, a round magnet. That's what is spinning inside here. Half of it, it's got north, and the other half got south. It's just a 2-pole magnet. Simple, nothing. So now I'm going to put the coil back on, and I'm going to load it up. So here's one coil. Slide. I've done a double one here to impress everybody, I guess. And I like to have the biggest one in the block. So now I got a double coil. Now the second coil is not connected to anything. It's just connected together. As you see, the wire, the jumper goes right back to that coil. Now I'm going to connect the big transformer to this coil here, because only this coil will supply power. That one over there, it just sympathizes. It doesn't do nothing. If I disconnect that, there's no power on this one, because it doesn't want to make power. This one decides I'm not making power either. So they sympathize each other. So now I'm just putting a loop on it, and then it cancels itself, and now suddenly I only got one. Now I'm going to start again on the slow side. Now I'm powering everything. Now the power you see on those gates here, it's not what I'm making out, it's what I have access. See, that's the volt. I have access volt for running all that here. I got that much access is going back into my pump. And I'm only using at maximum, it's 800 milliamp. Now to run the transformer, that's a 120 60 cycle. It's a 6,000 volt at 20 milliamp output. A friend of mine is an expert in electronic and electrical. He worked in that business all his life. He said that transformer, he's got the same one and doing the same test. He said that transformer have to have 1 amp to be able to push 6,000 volts. He said without that he wouldn't. The transformer is working at full blast. So I'm pushing an amp here on the transformer. I'm using a minimum of 200 milliamps per spark gap to run those spark gaps. I'm flowing the flow, the current, through this tube in a vacuum. I'm lighting up 3 other tubes going on here. That one is burned. Those are 2 of different gas, argon gas, air, straight air, argon. This one is argon and something else. But anyway, they all have 3 different type of gas. That's why they're all different colors. This one is just a burnt up fluorescent who lights up. Now I'm going to turn the main light off so you can see a better view. Look at that, man. Yeah. So now, let me move that away. The wire connects those 2 together here, right? And it keep on going, and keep on going, keep on going. I got this tiny little guy here, which we call it a fluorescent light bulb, right? Which is totally lie, right? Look down here more. And if you touch the end of this wire, you have the same power than what's coming out of the step-up transformer. You don't lose anything, any potential whatsoever. You have the same output of resonance. Resonance you can't lose. You can't lose resonance. It just keep on moving, right? So I can have a miles of line and fluorescent tube, and I will light up everything up. And the end of it is just an antenna. It's just picking up a resistance so she knows where to go. Now she's ready to get something else, you know, to be working. So this is all about resonance. I mean, we need to run what I'm doing right now, and anybody, they would say I need over 2 amp. Now, how the hell, I'm going to turn the light back on. Now, if I require 2 amps to run my unit, that means I would put 2 amp of resistance in that magnet. I'm still at the base. So I have no resistance, and I'm making all this energy here, which can keep on going forever, and I wouldn't have any more resistance, and I have some energy to be used still. I got 130 volts at that time to be used. I got 200 milliamps to be used, which I'm not totally using it yet. So how can you say that's not over unity? This is a total non-resistance generator at that point in time. So this is what I wanted to show you. And so you have, and also the multiplication, which I want to redo that with you. So I'm going to turn that off. I'm just going to hook up in here. And I will get you. Now that's the wire the power goes out. As you see, you know, it's not connected anywhere, but you see the spark are working, right? Now, what's that? That's over its own power. You can't, that is magnification of resonance and volts. Volts, which mean volume. So I want to go to my next bench, and then I'm going to sit down. I'm going to do some tests that I want you to see. But this is how Tesla was magnifying the energy of resonance. It can take resonance, you can multiply. So I mean, it's now the multiplication fall in a number 66, 120, 240, 360 rotation. If you want to get a slash of on a low voltage, if you want to get a 60 hertz, you got to spin this magnet at 3600 RPM to create 60 cycles a minute. So I mean, like, you know, a second. So everything is in a number of around the 360. And that's how you have to calculate, because I find out 3 days ago the calculation that Tesla had and how he came up to calculate the time length of resonance. He had to use timetable. When I mean timetable, not your number table, timetable, displacement and time from point A to point B, how long it takes you to display. And he was able to calculate that by using what is called that thing on the piano, the macrometer.
Oh.
The one that goes back and forth. You can set it up to keep your tune up when you learn how to play a piano, you know. And they had it, and that's the only instrument they really had at that time. They was super accurate, right? Because and if you walk back in time, in 1876, well, the only thing they really had precise, it was a pocket watch, a stopwatch, a clock with a pendulum, and a micrometer. That's it. They didn't have anything else. Like, how the hell you could calculate frequency unless you're using the table of calculating times, and then split that 360 degree and nano degrees, so you can calculate your time, how long it takes to do the circle. And that gave all the calculation of Tesla by using 360 and all the number who fits around the 360. That's his big calculation, and it's all arithmetics. You know, it's that simple. So let me set up on the other bench, and we'll get back to you right away. Okay, so we kind of reset here on the other bench and have a little bit of a more explanation. Here's my meter, right? And is magnetic on a setting of magnetic at 0 to 1 range, right? That's mean when you're in the red, it's supposed to be, you know, it's dangerous. But what I want to show with that is a magnet. The magnetic field around a magnet are not flowing, are stable. So stable it create a brush, and I will show you how it works. I'll take this Nadium magnet, which is very powerful, and you see I'm already moving the magnet here, and the needle is going to the horn range, and that's strong horn range actually. You know, but hey, you know, everybody said that's the magnetic field you're picking up, right? Because that's what that thing is going after, magnetic field. What is a magnet? Very powerful one, right? Look, if I move it here, look, right on the thing there, look at that. It stopped. The needle is back to 0. There's no effect on an electromagnetic field. So it's a magnetic field which doesn't move. Now if I pick up this magnet, see, I'm moving the magnet, so I'm brushing. Now to tell you, I can do that too. Look, I'll take something sharp, right? I'm brushing. So it cannot be magnetic field does that. It's the brushing of anything. So resonance would be the clue to go for. See, that's no magic. It's just a fact. So it's a lot of stuff people misconcept about Tesla. Tesla find resonance. He didn't go into the deep bullshit of everybody else. He decided resonance. Why he was never worked with anybody else? Because he couldn't stand it. Their theory was so wrong, so off ball. He could not stand to be with anybody who were using advanced mathematics to do calculation of energy. You cannot use it because mathematics, advanced mathematics, is algebra, and algebra reflects equality. So how the hell are you going to use that, right? So I mean the same thing with let's say we have those dead bar, right? Now, this is a dead bar. You can't hear nothing of that, right? Well, we'll take one is less dead, right? You can hear that. Now let's take one was really, really good. You see how she carried the sound? Well, the sound is resonance, and it's got a signal attached to it because we can hear it. That's mean it's got an harmonic, tied up to it because I'm tapping, right? But one bing, right? How many resonance do you have? Well, Tesla knew how to calculate that, and I figured a way. He used time again, time calculation, displacement in space, displacement in between point A and point B. That's all he used on a 360-degree circle, and he calculated that really well. And that's the only instrument he had. You know, it was time. He had tons of time, and he knew how to play with time. Now, another thing here I'm going to show you. I'm going to grab my voltmeter. I'll be back in a second here. I'm going to show you then, if the resonance is not involved with what I'm doing, then I'm a hell of a good magician, which I can't do anything with a trick to make anybody laugh. But I want to show you something. We'll take, ooh, that one is tight. Okay, I'll use one coil, so the coil is always going to be the same, right? Here's one, right? It's got very good resonance. Oops, sorry, the other one doesn't fit. Where is that one? Oh, that's the good one. It was in my machine, right? So we'll put that in here. Right? We're going to hook up the voltmeter to the output of the coil. We're going to go to AC volts. I should put something underneath here. So, can you see that better?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay. Now we have AC volt here, right? Now I'm going to set it up to millivolt so I can read millivolt. Now I'm going to use a file. Can you see all that here? Right? I'm going to use a file, and I'm just going to tap. Sample little file. I'm just going to tap here on the top. I have. Look at the millivolt I'm making. It's a file, for God's sake. I'm tapping on the iron and I'm resonating the iron. Now, when you leave that stop for a while, the resonance goes away, and you have to tap a little while before the resonance kicks in and start making volt. Now, it was very interesting what happened when I had one good one of those and I got it cut up. So I removed a lot of iron out of it, right? So let me push that back in. So now I get less iron than this one, right? So we're going to find out how much resonance can I do with less. I'm making more. It went over 230. I made more millivolt with a short iron than a large iron. That means I was more quicker with my resonance because I'm closer to the coil when I'm tapping. So the distance made a difference. So it's just to keep that in mind. I'm tapping with a file and I'm making millivolt. Like, you know, like this is ridiculous. If that's easy to make volt, why are we paying so much here? So those are the points. Same thing. A lot of people also do not understand. AC is an oscillated with a nice wave in it, an oscillated current. Well, the nice wave is actually done by the oscilloscope. It's not that nice, but it's a sharp up and down current, right? That's AC currents. Now DC, everybody said DC is a what do you call that? A direct current. We have no motion. The lying so much, it's not even funny. If DC had no motion, how come when I make silver water, those are silver rod, I hook up a 9-volt battery in here, right? And a 9-volt battery, I believe, is 100 milliamp output, something like ridiculous of that. Battery, and immediately one rod will make bubbles, right? It separates the nitrogen of the water, and you have nitrogen bubble coming up, and the second one starts stripping, stripping the silver and the nanoparticle, so it's suspended in the water. Now, how the hell a straight current can vibrate a rod so fast it will separate the nitrogen out of the water if it's not motion? I'd like anybody to explain that to me. If there's no motion in DC, how the hell that the rod shouldn't it have a resistance between the two with the water, because it's low voltage water is resistant. High voltage water have no resistance. But low voltage, it makes that rod vibrate enough to create that. It's not the induction, it's a vibration. If you have a camera, you can pick up that rod vibrate like crazy. I mean, it doesn't shake like, 2 inches. It vibrate. It have resonance, and a very high resonance. And that would explain why when you start a car and you have a dead battery, you walk away for a couple hours, you come back, and sometimes your car starts because your battery's back up. It's because it was resonance left in your battery. And that's what it charges itself up. Then you go up and you burn the resonance. Then it goes down, you can't do nothing. You wait a little bit more, it will be a little bit of current and a little bit of voltage coming back on your battery. This is residue of resonance. So resonance is literally what makes this world function. We're talking about, and I know I'm changing word, but you got to go with what you find in research. So anyway, I'm going to reset a little bit so you guys can see my face, and I want, talking a little bit more about what is going on. There we are. So I'm just going to try to tidy up this video, but it's a lot of stuff I really like to tell people, and try to tell that in 15 minutes or half an hour to an hour. It's really tough. But when you're looking around you and you're looking at what's going on and how things work, it's from the power plant. Why it takes so many windmill to power so little? I mean, it's because it's very simple. They try to make low volts. They're making low volts. Soon you start making low volt, it's like braking. It's like driving with your car with your brakes on it, because it creates resistance. You're not using the arithmetics to remove the resistance from a generator. And the reason they cannot use that and the windmill and all that stuff is, and even the solar panel, they're going after the wrong thing. They should go after resonance, since the sun is just pure resonance. The Westinghouse owned the right of manufacturing AC and the delivery of AC currents. And the government of the United States, after a couple of times Tesla did some tests, and he did shake the ground a few times, including in New York, and that's a well-recorded fact. He caused an earthquake in New York with one of his machines. And I know exactly how to do it, because it's so goddamn simple, right? As we have a very high volume of resonance, actually, a person with a hammer and an old truck axle pound to the ground with a stool and a case of beer beside him and a small hammer, and if he can tap that top of that thing there long enough, that wave will go to the bedrock and it will start sympathizing and come back to him, and then when it comes to the surface, it sympathizes and go back and forth, to suddenly you will have ground motion. That's how an earthquake works. So it's very simple when you do resonance. ARP, I have a suspicion Japan should be really looking into ARP. What happened over there is too much straight in line with them. You can direct the frequency, you can turn it if you want. All you have to do is use a set antenna sitting on a chest grid. And you're just like pulling string of a puppet. You pull the front string, you push the back one, it bent 90 degrees and keep on going. It's a very simple. Resonance can be shot out of the cannon at an extreme speed. We're talking about speed faster than light. That's resonance, not shock wave. Shock wave is not resonance. It became a signal. It became a motion of particles. It rolls in the particles, but not resonance. Resonance goes right through it. That's why it's way faster. So, but I mean, look, mechanic. What we use a mechanic a stethoscope. Resonance. When you put that in the parts, the resonance comes off the rod. Hit the diaphragm, you hear that loud and clear. When you don't have those, you use a long shaft screwdriver. All mechanic out there. knows about that. You want to find out the front bearing of your the bearing of your pump, of your water pump, the bearing of your alternator, what valve is knocking. You can find that. You put the shaft bring the resonance into the plastic, and the plastic became a speaker for you. So resonance can do a lot of stuff because we have resonance around us. We've been living, our body who runs on resonance. That's why when people come and sit down with my little machine, you know, your body fills up, recharge the volt and resonance. Now I have lots of people testing voltage in people after they're using the machine, and the millivolt increased by 1/3 to half. You know, and all the information I've been saying about checking the millivolt of a small kid. His millivolt is very high because he's growing. You need all that energy to grow. A person who's very sick and dying, the millivolt is very low because he's not rebuilding that. He's just going on a decline to get zero. I mean, it's all about voltage, and voltage means volume. Now, the word potential, everybody have a problem with the word potential with Tesla. What potential is very simple. When Tesla says energy works like water and a hose under pressure, and is absolutely right. You know, you have to fill up the bucket before you overflow. You can overflow a bucket if you put only half of a bucket in it, correct? So only when you keep pouring it, the bucket overflow. When it overflow, the overflow you use that. So when you have a transformer, you know, and it takes a while, and I was wondering why it takes so long. When I plug up my little 4-horse generator, my 1200 watt generator, and I had a light bulb connected to the leg, and my light bulb was not turning on it took sometime up to 3 to 4 minutes on a 50 kV can before my light bulb come up. It was very simple. It was because you have to fill up the can with resonance. It's like water. And then you have to pressurize it, and once you pressurize it, boom, we got voltage coming up, X1 and X2, but not before that. And now I know why, because it is like water under pressure, but you have to bring a certain amount of volume and take you to fill up this big volume with this volume under pressure. So you're just filling it up.
Just like the volts on the core there that didn't show up immediately when you started tapping.
That's right, yeah, exactly. The core sometimes, like, you know, like I say, when I do the test with that, if my core just sit all night long by herself, they have no resonance inside. So I have to start tapping it, and it takes a while, and then suddenly, the millivolts come showing up in the core, and then boom, it shoots right out, right? It's all about, you know, you got to fill that up with resonance. And that's what a transformer is, right? Iron's got tons of iron in there, and you have to fill that up in the container. Now, people say, oh yeah, pressure my ass, right? But if you energize a transformer on the pole and you forgot to connect the neutral out of it, you get about not quite 3 seconds. The top of the transformer blow right out. And if there's any lineman up there who installed transformer and they did that mistake, they will be able to tell me yes, because I got a friend of mine, he's a lineman, and they were connecting a 500 kilowatt kV transformer, and they were in a rush in the rain, and they forgot the ground cable, and the lead came out of it, and apparently they're still looking for the lead. It blew up instantly. So pressure, when you have tons of potential coming in from the line, that means you get a big hose and you get a lot of pressure. So it all goes back into, you know, what we were talking about. The thing you have to understand is, literally, if you were educated with our schooling system, you can never figure it out, because the schooling system, the only thing it's designed for is to build a wall around you so high you can never get out of that box. And you're stuck there with the rest of your life using their mathematics, their equation, their this. You can never come up to your own understanding and own equation. Why? You know? I mean, like, You're a person. You have an imagination. You can come up with your own way how to get to Paris. I'm pretty sure it's more than one way to get there, right? I mean, why is no more than one way to do things? All you have to use is your imagination. Don't let the government to shut your imagination down, because imagination is what drives the world forward. If you don't have imagination, you're dead. You're just a zombie. You have no life left in you besides serving your God. Like, you know, I'm using as a metaphor here because a lot of people think the government is God because they own everything. You know, you don't own nothing and they own everything. I mean, the last I see, the Canadian own Canada, the American own America. I mean, everybody in their country, they're born and raised there, own that land, not the government. The government doesn't own that thing, but they sure act like they do. How come people cannot afford land to put a house on it for them to live? They live in cardboards. Oh, because the government don't want them to go to crown land, which is owned by the people, and pick up a space of land and put a house on it so they have a roof over their head. The government stops that. Why? Because they think that's their land. That's the problem in the world. The government doesn't own, and will never own anything. And anybody who say different, they're just zombies. Or they're paid by the government to say different, which we know about that. We call them trolls. The
video.
Oh yeah, that perfect. And see, when I go on and rambling there, I miss. That's why I got a guy behind today, so he can actually, you know, slap me in the back of the head and, hey, about what about. Now, you have to understand what I'm telling you is so powerful. It's so powerful. Like Tesla says, it's so powerful. It's just like water. Water is the most powerful thing in the world. 3 glasses of water a day. You drink that every day. It will keep you alive for the rest of your life if you eat. But water is the source that will keep you alive. If you stop drinking water, you will die. But if you shove your head underneath the water for more than 5 minutes, you're dead too. So you have to have respect and balance for all elements around you. So is resonance. It's just like it. Now, resonance can heal you, make you grow, feed you, do all that stuff, makes light, makes everything happen around you. But you have to respect what it is, because you can get killed with high potential. Very easy. I saw it happen, and now I understand why it happened. It took me, you know, it took me a long time now to realize what happened to that person. But when you see an accident and power line, and then people get vaporized, literally, well, now I know why. It's potential, it's resonance. Resonance does that because it breaks all molecules, especially water molecule. So, I mean, like, you know, so, I mean, Tesla said he could crack the earth in half, and I totally believe it, because you can cause earthquake, you can cause all kinds of stuff with resonance. I mean, look, we have people design tiny little box the size of a cell phone, clamp it and against a beam in a building, turn it on and walk away, and half an hour the building collapse in rubble. So resonance is really well known, right? So, all right, I got a video. I want you to watch that. You know, we'll play the video on the same time here, and it's about how powerful resonance is. This guy, they're doing all kinds of tests. We find out on YouTube, and they're laughing their ass off when they're doing that. They have an 8 by 8 inch plate, almost, I would say, 1/4 inch thick, solid copper plate. Okay, they have this. They rig this generator, whatever. They're pushing up a lot of volt out there. The same system that I'm doing, at extremely high discharge spark gap, you name it, right? And they have this coil on the floor, which is, it showed, see to me, about 2.5 inch thick, about an inch thickness of the coil, but no iron into it, just a wrap of copper wire and a nice formation of a coil, square coil. They put that on the floor of the basement, they put the plate on it, and they turn the machine on, and that machine just keep on building up and building up and building up and building up, and suddenly it discharged into a secondary spark gap inside of a control tune cord, and it hit that spark gap. Then you hear this big bang. That plate has been projected into the ceiling of the basement and an extreme speed, and hit the ceiling and come back bouncing all over the place, and you hear those people laughing. It's not funny because they could get hurt, but everybody miss how the plate look like. When you look at the plate, it's got the perfect imprint of that coil. That's mean the energy coming out of the coil didn't come out from the hole, the center of the coil. It came out from the side of the coil perfectly. It print. The center of the coil was concave by at least 1/4 of an inch, perfectly formed to the coil. Now, do you know how much energy it takes? On a press is a 60-ton press minimum to do the same mark on that plate. That's how Tesla is, we call that is dead ray or is dead beam work. It shot on a straight beam a massive amount of resonance, and anything in the front of that, they will flatten up. Soon they get hit, because what's happened with resonance, it goes through you, but when it goes through the material, it creates the echo. The echo is the one who's really killing you, because it makes everything vibrating around you. So we have a different time, I think, now to realize what we're playing is very easy to manufacture energy, self-sustained energy. It will last forever. It's clean, non-pollution, doesn't cost a fortune, but we have to have respect of it. If you don't have respect, well, how many people drown, around the world every month? Thousands, because they don't respect water. They think everything is a toy. Well, life is not a toy. I mean, like, we're not in a movie. When you die, you're dead. You don't get up and wipe the makeup out of your face and go on to the next movie. You just die. So if we don't have a true respect of what we're playing with and energy, when it comes, and everybody call it electricity. Well, I don't have a problem with this word electricity, but AC currents, which that's what Tesla designed with a wave in it, so we can take resonance through the transformer and convert it into watts. That's all the transformer does. It's just an open closed gate. It brings the flow resonance. It just brings everything up, and everything works. So, and I like to be.
So you got a number of projects you're working on right now?
Oh, absolutely. I got to finally my generator is the part of getting made up. It takes a little while. I have to wait. I'm not the machinist, but I have to wait for my part. But the generator literally is about this tall. It'll look like a 1 liter can of paint, literally, and it's drive with that motor, which is a 36 volt DC brush motor. It's a 15 amp motor. It can turn all the way up to 60,000 RPM. It's got a massive amount of torque. So this is going to be running the inside my magnets inside my generator, and I will be able to control that through my power. My power supply, 60 volt DC power supply. It will be able to tell me exactly what I'm putting in this motor, amp rate, volt rate. And I will push that right through my transformer on one leg, so I can see what's coming out of my X1, X2 and volt volume, because I cannot, my generator will be probably around about 3,000 to 4,000 volts, and I don't have the meter to do that, and a 5,000 volt meter is too expensive, and I can downvolt through the transformer and see what I'm doing. And after that, then I'm going to be finishing up this guy here, and that's the secondary on the Tesla coil. The primary will literally be made of that. It's a 1/8 of an inch wire, and you need a big wire, and you have to be far away from the coil. It cannot be against the coil. Everybody put a coil over a coil. Bad idea, because now what's happening when you throw a lot of resonance into a heavy wire, on the outside of the wire is a plasma, and the plasma is how it comes out of the copper, and it induce and increase the amount of resonance you put in. It multiply that, magnify that, and it cool off and turn to pure resonance. When the pure resonance hit that wire convert that to higher voltage and higher potential. And that's how you step up, and it can create 50-foot long what do you call that? Lightning, right? So, but I'm not presenting and making lightning with this. This, with my small generator, is about the size of a quart, and the proper coils around, and the motor to spin. I should be able to produce enough power, enough amperage. I can run this house. The only thing I'm going to have to do now, and after that, is when I test all that, is make my slasher so I can have 60 hertz going into the transformer with between the 60 hertz a massive amount of potential and voltage. So it's just a rotary with two brush, a rotary drum we spin at 3600 RPM, and I feed my high power through it, and it goes into the transformer. So I chop it up to 60 cycles a second, and it goes to transformer, and then you hook up your transformer to the house, and voila, you turn the light on, you turn the stove on, everything's working. But I believe just by putting 5 amp in, I should be able to get enough amp to come out, because Tesla, this multiplication, and that was in court in New York, his word was, and the judge asked him, how do you multiply you? And he said, Your Honor, it's not a multiplication, it's a question of magnification and amplification. He said, for example, if I take a Westinghouse 500 horse steam turbine, and I convert the 500 horse to the maximum resonance, high frequency, high potential, which is resonance, high volt, high frequency, the end of the line, I should have 1.5 million horse. So 500 horse, 1.5 million horse. That's how they feed the grid here. Look at it, right? They make a power plant and they feed a massive amount of land, okay? The horsepower for each person, for each house, is less than a horsepower per house to power your power you need. Less than a horsepower. And if you don't believe me, ask. I get all my numbers directly from Niagara Falls, but I had to break down the question so they don't doubt or they don't question why I'm questioning them, right? So I asked them what one turbine, how much a new turbine, what's the horsepower of the shaft of the turbine? And they told me they used to be 16 to 18,000 horse, now they're 60,000 horse. So I wait a while and I have somebody else to phone and ask them another question. Not ask them how much volt is making that. How many customer did that turbine supply? And they say it was just over 70,000 customer. Now that's averaging all the customer as they all draw the same. We know your house and a big industry or manufacturer car plant draw a little bit more than your house, right? But that's their average, 70-some thousand customer. So I'm talking about horsepower and customer. Are you kidding me? My house here, I need a minimum, because I heat with natural gas, I would need at least a 30 horse to 40 horse diesel to run my house the way I want to run. So therefore, something is wrong here, right? Because we're making low voltage with the generator. If it was all those generators there was making high volt and set up with the transformer inside of, you will have a big generator, put out a lot of power, and you open the door and it's got this little 5 horse bringing strut and spinning the thing. Huh? Right? You can make a lot of money with a whole lot of power to feed that little 5 horse back. That's how loop is. A loop is a loop. It doesn't have to be a wire, it could be a hose, it could be anything. A loop is a loop. And over unity always existed, because guess what? We've been using it all our life for 150 years plus. So wake up, right? And start asking yourself some question. What I learned in school, it is true. Can any scientist in the world show you an electron on a film? If it's not, I'm not talking about man-made film here. I'm talking about a camera picking up the flow of an electron. No. But they're all talking about what it look like, how it works, how it does, what it reacts, and all that. But they can never see one. I mean, I just cannot believe that. No one in the world of science can prove you. I mean, you want to throw a chaos into a room full of scientists? Throw a magnet in the middle of the floor and ask them to explain how that works. You know, they will be stompede themselves to get out of that room because they don't want to go there because they don't know. We have some real scientists, and we have some clown who is paid by big corporation and the government, and are on transcript. That's when they come and talk to you. They're reading a transcript, the program, and they're well paid for that. I call them, you know, those are money-sucking machine who sucks taxpayers' money for absolutely no reason. You know, and then the other guy who's doing some work, you know, they have you know, problem to feed themselves because, hey, the world is all toward the look at fantasy, where, you know, not reality. It can never be reality, and it will never be reality. You know, look how much money has been spent on a particle accelerator system, you know, in Switzerland and France, and now it's got about 8 of them around the world. Those big things underground, right? They can't even fry a potato yet, for fuck's sakes. Trillions of dollars went into those projects, and still going on strong, and they can't fry a potato. Look at France with that particle smasher. They have that big ball there. $16 trillion they have so far in there, and they can't fry a potato. You know, this is ridiculous. I mean, like, you know, what's the whole thing?
Outside of that stuff, though, with what's going on with you, it's pretty exciting, though.
Well,
Your understanding is much different than it was a year and a half ago.
Oh, I mean, absolutely. Now, you know, now I can go hunting. I actually have an object or an animal, you know, in front of me, and I'm going to recognize and go and get, right? Before, you give me a gun, go hunting. Well, you're walking around the bush. Well, what am I supposed to shoot? A squirrel, a moose, a bear, right? You don't know, a fish. I didn't give you anything, any direction to go hunting. I just said, grab the gun, go hunting, right? Well, that's what the world of science is. They're shooting everywhere. I mean, like, you know, they're shooting thinking they're going to get a result of something. They have a result, all right, but it's a result they can't follow on it. They cannot redo the same thing. So, but anyway, this is the message I'm trying to pass there. The way of thinking have to really change, and if we change our way of thinking, you know, you don't have to buy energy at all. I mean, it's all around you. Just tap into it. So on that note, I'm going to let you go, and hopefully I didn't bore you to death. So hopefully you'll be watching my video, and I'll take a look at what your comments says. So till next time then, bye.